water. I think we've had a few people had some accidents. And of course the EMS, excuse me, hello, is right behind us. So if you need to go and visit, please do so. They are there to help us.
They told me I have to talk in the microphone so you can hear me, but they probably don't live with me, and my wife says you can hear me no matter what. So, she does make a good point about staying hydrated today for people, but how many of you have pets at home that you got your dogs, hey, get in here. You got your dogs out in the yard. One of the things that happens a lot of times is we don't really think about the fact that our dogs have to get through all this heat too, and it's tough on them. So in our kennels out there where we keep everybody's dogs, and we keep a lot of dogs for people, and we train for them, we try to set up a place so it'll be nice and cool for them. We have fans and misters, and it's shaded. Today we have our trailer parked back here, and the dogs are inside that trailer. We have them set up in there with there's a ventilation fan that pushes air across them and keeps them cool. We're always real careful about that. The other thing that we take care in is like we get our dogs out and we'll throw and play fetch with them a little bit in the water and we put them up. We are not going to take our dogs out and have them run and do a lot of work in the middle of the day when it's 100 degrees outside. You know, we'll be able to go over to the truck and get a bottle of water and cool off, but our dogs just don't cool off quite like that. You know, a dog doesn't sweat like we do. When we sweat, that's to cool us off. They sweat using their mouth. And if they get dehydrated, they can overheat real fast. We've been to hunt tests and we've been to field trials before, and we've seen dogs go down because the owners weren't taking good care of them. They weren't really paying attention to them and keeping them cool and keeping them hydrated. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do. We do basic training all the way through advanced training. So when we say basic training, we teach people's dogs how to be like a good member of the family. One of the things that happens is you end up with a dog that somebody knocks on the door, somebody rings the doorbell, dog runs to the front of the house, jumps on the door, bounces up the door, your friends come in, the dog jumps on them, or if they walk in the backyard, you got to go put the dog up so the dog won't jump on people. You want to have a pet, you want him to be part of the family, but you don't want that dog to embarrass you every time somebody comes over, right? So we see this all the time. A lot of people, whenever they learn that I'm a dog trainer, the first question that they have is, how do I keep my dog from jumping on me? Well, it's really easy. What we do is we teach our dogs that we only reward them for the behavior that we want. Jenna, here, sit. So until she's in this position right here, I don't pet her. But once she's sitting, then we pet her. And then she gets all the love in the world. So we rewarded what we want. Now, if she came up to me, here. If she comes up to me and she wants me to pet her, then she better, hey, come here. So you notice that she went straight over there and she sat down because she knows that nobody's going to pet her until she sits down. Jenna, here. Right here. Sit. Good. So when you have a dog at home and you don't want that dog to be jumping on people, when the dog comes to you and it starts to jump on you, put your hands back and back away from the dog and start telling it to sit. And you've also got to teach the dog what sit means. So we start teaching the dog what sit means. Colton, show him, Colton does this every day. Colton works for me out there, and he's every day working with these puppies, teaching them how to make them sit. So he'll put a collar on them and he'll walk them around, and then we have this deal where we say heel. Heel means to walk along, and the dog's going to be right beside him. And then once he kind of gets where he's going, he'll say sit, and he'll pull back on that collar, sit, good. Once he gets where we want him, we tell him it's a good thing. He'll pat him a little bit. Then we get up and we walk around again. Let's see for a second. Come here, buddy. This guy's name is Bogey. He'll sit. I know you like Colton. So Bogey is owned by some friends of ours that live up in Edmond, and he's in training with us. He's going to get all his basic obedience done. Sit. He's trying to learn patience right now. He doesn't have a lot, so he'll sit for just a minute, but then he's going to want to get up and move around. He's going to learn how to be a good duck hunter, and he's also going to learn how to do some hunt test type stuff. So he'll have some titles behind his name, stuff like that. Come here. Sit. So he's learning. He understands what these things mean. So you teach your dog sit. The same way, the same thing that I'm doing right here, you just got to do it over and over and over, just like your kids. Heel. We won't go that far. We won't go that far over anymore. Okay. So teaching a dog to sit, and we start out. We use just a regular collar on the dog, and then we graduate to some different training tools. And I know that these may look like they're kind of tough. They're really not that bad. So you've probably seen one of these at Walmart before. This is a really good tool to teach your dog how to sit. You bring it back through like this. Here. Sit. Sit. So you put it right on their head, and then you have the end of this. Have a big long checkboard. Heel. Sit. And whenever she was a little puppy, when she was younger than this dog, this is where she started learning how to sit. Today, she knows how to sit no matter what we do or where we go. Like if we're at her by the pond and tell her to sit, she knows she has to sit. She has to do it right there.
What's the thing?
Sit. Heel. Sit. Sit. So it's been a long time since she's had this on, but she remembers, she knows what it was. So when you go to Walmart, you can buy that, you can put on your dog, and if you'll just spend 10 or 15 minutes a couple of times a day doing that with your dog, you can teach your dog to sit. We do the same thing with teaching them to hear. We put the collar on them, sit, and then we'll pull on the dog just a little bit, here, 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 sit. We teach them to come to this place every time. They always come to your sign, sit. Well, they should sit. All right, come on. Come on. Come on. So here and sit are probably the two most important things you can teach your dog. Actually, they're probably second and third in line, because there's one other thing that you teach your dog that every dog should know. And it's just like you want to know what your name is. So we use the dog's name to send them on anything that's good. So whenever we throw a bumper, when we tell a dog to go retrieve, we send them on their name. We start that training by when they're little, we make them sit, we put down a bowl of food, and then we don't let them go eat until we call her name. So her name's Jenna. We'll sit her, we'll put the food down. When I say Jenna, then she can come eat. And the other thing that we do is this. So we want to teach them
Greg's doing his presentation.
to retrieve.
Video taping them right now, so.
Hey, scoot over, I don't want to hit you with
We're
this.
underneath that awning dance floor.
I won't hit you with it. Hey, 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 come here. Come here. I didn't say your name. Here. Heel.
All right, buddy.
Sit. Sit.
No.
Sit. Good. Jenna. Jenna.
No.
It's kind of hard for her to understand because my voice usually doesn't come from
All right, I love you.
like that.
Bye.
Good, right here. Good. Good. Heel. Sit.
And remind you,
Sit.
this is what a crap
Sit.
load of people around.
Sit.
It makes
Sit.
it really stressful.
Sit. Good.
You were by yourself,
No,
huh? And the
but
dog
you-
will listen to you, nothing else.
She doesn't like holding these great big bumpers in her mouth. She likes the little ones. Or she likes dogs. She's a big dog. So we teach our dogs here, we teach them to heel, we teach them sit, we teach them their name. Heel. She's feeling kind of honored today. So with your dogs at home, it's really easy to teach them those things. You teach them to sit, and then you teach them to hear using that rope. Once they learn to sit, and you need to teach them to sit in a place, and then walk away from them. And when you tell them to sit, and you start to walk away, if you get a few feet away and they try to move, then you go back and you tell them to sit again. Colton does this every day. I'm sure he gets tired of doing it because we have a whole list of dogs, and he goes and makes a circle and does it every day. But you can do it real easy with your dogs. Dogs understand. The other thing is kind of read your dog. When we train dogs, we want to make sure that they have just as much fun as they are having discipline. So when we're teaching a dog to be good like this, then we also want to do something that's fun for them. So I'm going to say this, I'm going to wait a second before I actually use the words. She knows what's fixing to happen. So you're getting all excited. We do what we call hey bumpers. So if you teach a dog to have fun, and we say hey, up, hey, 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 her entire attitude changes. Hey, hey, up, hey, up, hey, hey. So now she's like, this is all playtime for her. So if we do discipline, if we go through and we do here, heel, sit, we do all the discipline stuff, sit, sit, sit. We want to offset that with playtime too, because at the end of the day, the dogs do the things that we ask them to do. They retrieve, they go pick up ducks, they do all this stuff because they love it, and not because we made them do it. And what you want to do is you want to talk your dog into being good, like sitting, or heeling, or laying down, or being where they're supposed to be, and being obedient because they want to do it. So you got to offset that with some fun stuff for them. Heel. Sit. So when you start, you teach your dog to sit, teach them to sit and be able to walk away from them, and after they've done it real good, then let them go get some bumpers and have fun. Once you let them go get some bumpers and have fun, then go back into training. The other thing is reading the dog and not letting that dog, hey, come here, here. No ma'am. No ma'am. Here. Here. Yeah, here. Here. Sit. Sit. She really wants to play with the bumper. So she knows that it's time for her to be able to have some fun. When you look at your dog, if their ears are down, if their tail's down, they're not wagging their tail, you can kind of tell that either they don't feel good or they kind of got their feelings hurt. When you have to discipline a dog, or when you have to start teaching them some things that they don't want to do, if they're used to just running the show, they're going to get their feelings hurt a little bit. When they start to get their feelings hurt, you got to do something fun to bring it back. So when you read that, you do the fun bumper, you do that sort of thing. When you love on your dog, you should be able to tell if they're really accepting that praise. Or we get a lot of dogs where people have put too much discipline on them, and it takes us 2 or 3 weeks to get that dog where they're having fun again. Yes. We're going to talk about that in a minute. What she has on now is an electronic collar. We're going to talk about how the electronic collar works. So when we get to that point where we want to make sure that dog's feeling good about what's going on, like I'll reach down and pet her, and when I do, you'll notice that she'll either swallow or she'll lick her nose. If you reach down to pet a dog and he doesn't swallow or lick his nose, he doesn't really care if you're petting him or not. He's not going to accept that praise. He doesn't want to be your friend. He's not interested in you right now. Sit. So those are just little things that you can tell about this dog. Now with her, she's always looking at me. She's always waiting for me to tell her what to do next. When I pet her, I can feel her. She'll swallow there for a second. That's her accepting my praise. So he had a really good question about the shock collar. She has an e-collar on her right now. We'll take it off. I'll show you what we do with this. So once we sit. Once we've taken our dog through all the basic obedience and all the training, and we know that dog understands every command that we're going to ask it to take, whether it's heel, here, sit. We use whistles to give commands to the dog. So one type of whistle makes them come in, another tells them to sit. When they're in the field, we can use hand signals to tell the dog where we want it to be. Once we know that the dog understands everything that we're going to be asking him to do. For example, when I say sit, if she doesn't sit, I can grab that collar, or the controller for the collar. When this is on her, I can grab the controller, I hit the button, and it puts pressure on her until she sits down. Now this thing has settings from 1 to 8. So what we do is we start out on 1, and 1, I'll put the collar in my hand, and I'll hit the button on 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to know exactly what it feels like when I press the button for that dog. I'm not ever going to discipline or put anything on my dog that I would not put on myself. That's just the way that it works for me. Here. Hey, he's not going to pet you. Come here. Here. So, and that's not her being in trouble. She knows that. When she gets to get in here, that's usually because we're getting ready to go hunting. So when she gets in here, that's not being in trouble. I just know that if I put her in here, that gives her a very defined space. And then whenever she's in a defined space, for her to break that barrier and go out, her brain just won't want to do that as badly as whenever she's just sitting here today. And she's been out kind of roaming and doing her thing. We've had her out of the trailer a lot today, so she's kind of tired of putting up with me, I think. So anyhow, we put the collar on, and I'll press the button at whatever level, so I know exactly what it feels like before I put it on the dog. The other thing is, once we know the dog understands the command like sit, we put the e-collar on the dog, we tell them to sit, and we put pressure on the dog. And once they sit, then we take the pressure off. So we push the button. After they sit, the button comes off. They don't know I'm pushing the button. They just know that the quicker that they do whatever they've been asked to do, the quicker this pressure goes away. And that's what makes the dogs want to respond to this collar so much better. The bad thing is, a lot of people think that this collar is to punish a dog, and it's not designed as punishment. It's not like when you whip your kids that you hear people talk about, or when you... It's not like that. This collar is not a form of punishment. It's just a way that the dog understands how to turn off that electronic pressure that's on its neck.
You want them to send your dog
So,
now?
when you buy the collar and you put it on a dog and you use it for punishment, I've seen dogs that come to me after that's happened, and it's really hard to train them because then they're afraid to do anything. They're scared. They're not having any fun.
Training on.
You got to make sure you balance it. Make sure they're having fun.
That means when he says here,
So
sit,
her kennel, her command to go in there is kennel.
Wow.
So that's another command that we teach every dog that's in our place. If I say kennel and I point at that trailer out there, they'll go get in their kennel in the trailer. If I say kennel and point at this here, they'll go get in there. if we're at my house and we open
Sounds
the door
like
and I
a lot
say
for
kennel,
500
they'll
a
go
month.
inside there. They know
But
that
it's
that's what
worth
that
it for your
means. So we
dog.
teach them
Oh, it
kennel,
won't jump on
teach them
nobody.
here, we teach them heel, we teach them sit. We also teach them to place.
Won't bark.
And place happens whenever we'll put a dog in a certain place, and usually we'll have it designated by a mat or board. And when I say place, I want you to sit and you stay on that place until I tell you you can move. That's so that if I go hunting and I want the
You're
dog
also
to sit
paying
over here while
for
I do
where your
something
dog's
over on
at.
the other side,
Your
that
dog
dog
would
knows
be
better
at
than to move. So we teach them that
a
place
very,
command.
very good surrounding.
Another thing that's really important we teach dogs is we put them in a kennel like this. We put them in the dog trailer. We open the door. We don't let them come out until I tell you you can come out. Now, why would that be important? That's important to the safety of your dog. So that, let's say you got a dog kennel that goes in the back of your pickup, or you have a dog that rides in the back seat of the car. You don't want to open the door and have the dog bolt out. What if you're next to this road and you open the door and the dog bolts out and there's a car coming? Now your dog just got hit by a car. So for that dog's safety, we teach those dogs that you don't get out until we tell you you can get out. You don't get in until we tell you you can go in there. So for safety purposes, we want to make sure that dog does that. At home, we teach them so that when the front door is open, we'll open the front door, but you sit. You don't go outside until we invite you to come out. When the dog's outside, we open the door, they sit, and they don't come in until we invite them in. It's important to teach your dog those things, and if you'll teach your dog all those basic things, then that dog will all of a sudden start being a real good part of the family. He'll be fun to have around. He won't be a pain to have around. When it comes time for duck hunting, we teach these dogs how to hunt out of a layout blind, how to hunt out of a blind like this. They pick up ducks every day. They do their job. They love it. They work in cold weather. They work in warm weather. And we train pretty much all labs because they're easy to train. They love to retrieve. They love duck hunting, which is
My
kind of
grandpa
what we
made
like
those
to do
kennels
too.
for
So,
him.
you guys have any questions for me?
They're plenty big.
Any other
inside
questions?
out of the weather.
You got another one? Sit.
I have a long question. You get a dog here chasing chickens and whatnot, you're killing them, you train a dog not to do that.
Yeah, so he asked if you can train a dog not to kill your chickens. Well, you can, but we don't. Because chickens are going to be pretty close to a duck, and I don't want to train that dog to not go after a bird because we're teaching our dogs to do that. But you can teach a dog not to. Yeah, if you got a non-hunting dog, you can teach him to not chase that stuff, but you got to remember, what then you have to do is create boundaries for that dog. So that dog knows that he can't go in a certain area wherever the chickens are. For us, we typically we make it a rule that we put our dogs in a place where they're a controlled environment. We want to have a fenced yard, so that way they know they shouldn't go into the chickens area and the chickens shouldn't be in their area. It makes it a whole lot easier, but if you want to train a dog not to do that, you're going to have to put them in a pretty specific area. And then part of this, it's in the dog's DNA to chase birds. Some things you're not going to train out of. So you can teach them to come here and to call them off that, but if you're not around, they're probably going to sneak out there and still chase those chickens if it's the kind of dog that's in their DNA. Any other questions? I see you back there, but there's no way to get back there to that. We run blind retrieve. We teach our dogs to run blind retrieves, and Kalen's back there waving at me because I was going to have him set a bumper down back there, and we teach the dogs so that we say, like, you can hide a bumper out there in the field somewhere, and I'll say back, and the dog will start in that direction. If they get lost, they'll blow the whistle and they'll look at me, and then I'll give them hand signals to tell them which way I want them to go until they get to the bird. Now, I thought there was like an aisle through here, but there's not, and I was going to send the dog back through there, but it didn't work out that way. So, drop that right there. There we go. Here. Sit. 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 And so when we train, we usually don't have people walking through like that. Back. So she's waiting for me to let her know that it's okay to go get that. It's okay for her to do that. Now, that's like really easy. When we do that at home, or when we train that in the field, those dogs will be doing this maybe on the other side of that pond. Hey, bring it here. Hey, that's mine. You gotta bring it up. Come here. Sit. Good. So I have to move this microphone away so that she can actually hear me. Because I think that my voice coming from back there, she's not sure whether she should recognize that or not. So when we teach them to do blind retrieves, we can run that same retrieve across this pond, across a big field. We do that kind of stuff with them every day. But those are some of the basic things that we teach, some of the basic things we teach dogs to do. If you guys ever have questions or anything, we're a mile north and a mile west of town. You can look us up on Facebook. It's Duck Dogs Retrievers on Facebook, and send me a message if you get questions about your dogs. We're going to start doing some Saturday trainings where if you have a dog that needs to go through training and we want to help you do some training on that, we're going to offer some things so we can teach you how to train your dog. So if you guys have any of those things, feel free to ask. We're going to be over here at the trailer for a little while longer. If you have a dog, you have questions, come over and hit us up. We've got puppies over there, and if you want to come by and pet one for a little bit, we don't charge for that today. We should have, because everybody wants to pet the puppies. So come by and see us. Appreciate you guys listening, and stay well hydrated and enjoy the rest of your Peach Festival. And I have no idea what the boss is or what's supposed to happen next.
I guess you could sing.
Probably shouldn't.